Cake, 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 cake. 500 million, I got a pound cake.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Cooking Cocktails and Conversation. It's your boy Troy. So today I'm making a cream cheese pound cake for you guys. I'm not really talking about anything, in specific, but I just want to take you along the ride and show you guys how I make this pound cake and basically get into how I started baking and why I bake. All right, so let's go. All right guys, to start off, basically right here in my bowl right here, I have 8 ounces of cream cheese that's been cubed and at room temperature. Also 3 sticks of unsalted butter that's cubed and at room temperature as well. And my other bowl right here on the side that I already prepared off camera is going to be 3 cups of cake flour and what did I do? 3 teaspoons of baking powder and a half a teaspoon of salt. And the reason why I'm using unsalted butter is because I have salt in my flour mix. So first thing we're going to do is going to cream our butter and cream cheese. And my thing fell off. See, I'm trying to be ready for you guys, but here we go. So when you cream it, the reason why you want this to be room temperature, because you want to be able to easily cream everything together. And I like to cube all my stuff because I feel like it mixes better when you cube everything together. Like I say, what I like to do when I make sure when I'm buttering and creaming my cream cheese, I like to make sure that everything's incorporated. So I'll stop midway and kind of mix everything with a little spatula, to make sure it's all incorporated. And you want to keep going until you get a nice smooth consistency that you can easily fold it. See, right now it's a little hard, so I want to keep going. I'm gonna go for another like a minute or so to make sure I really have that soft consistency. So I think that's good enough. So now that we have this creamed already, guys, we're gonna go ahead and add 6 eggs. 6 eggs seems like a lot for a recipe, but I'm following some lady's recipe that I think makes really good cakes. So she says 6 eggs, 6 large eggs, and you want these to be at room temperature as well. And while I'm talking about that, I have my oven preheated to 325 degrees. So that's going to be already hot and ready to go once I'm done with the batter. So you want to incorporate your eggs 1 egg at a time. I've been baking for a while, guys, because my friend told me that, once you get older in age, you need a little hobby. And I didn't really know what my hobby was going to be. I'm really not into sports. I'm really, I'm kind of like a guy who likes arts and stuff like that, but I don't know how to do it well enough to do it myself. So I like sweets and I wanted to lose weight. And one of the things I told myself is that in order to lose weight, you can only eat sweets that you make yourself. So, and if you can see it, a lot goes into baking and stuff like that. So I just started making my own desserts, and that was the only thing I could eat. I couldn't eat anything sweet unless I made it myself. So I'm lazy, so I will wake up early like I did today and go buy all my ingredients and then come home and make my cakes. And then that cake will last me 2-3 days. I would never finish them. I would always throw them away. And that's how I got into baking. So you want to incorporate your eggs 1 egg at a time. It'll look a little funky at first, but that's okay. But it will slowly start to cream together. And you just want to make sure it's fully incorporated into your cream cheese and butter before you move on to the next egg. You want to bring it back to that original consistency that you started with before you added your egg, before you move on to the next egg. It's going to take a while, but you'll notice that, once you get the hang of it, you can go a little bit faster. And this is cooking cocktails and conversation, so I'm drinking a margarita on ice while I make my cake. I usually don't drink while I make my cakes, but it's my channel, so I gotta do it. Also, I'm using a hand mixer. A lot of people have tabletop mixers, but I'm not that rich yet, so I basically use a hand mixer. Like I said, you want to make sure it's incorporated all the way in before you move on to your next egg. And this batter is going to be a pretty large batter, so if you don't have a large bowl, I suggest you you get you one, because it's going to be a lot of batter for your cake. Take some time to bring down the sides. So yeah, y'all, that's how I got into baking. At first, you know, all my stuff came out a little wonky at first, but as you go, you start noticing how stuff mix. Baking is nothing but science, so you want to make sure that you do everything, follow the recipe at all times, and you'll be okay. Don't rush the process. Trust the process. Trust the recipe. After you make the recipe once or twice, then you can switch it up to how you like it. You know. So after we put in all the eggs, I'm on my 5th egg right now. We're going to add in our sugars. We're going to use 3 cups of sugar. Let me make sure that's right. I'm over here talking about 3 cups. Let me make sure. Yeah. 3 cups of sugar. I had to check my recipe. So 3 cups of sugar. Here's our last egg. Good, that's all incorporated. So we're going to go ahead and use 3 cups of regular granulated sugar. Sometimes instead of using 3 cups or the full cups that the measurements call for, sometimes I'll do, like this calls for 3 cups. I'll do 2 cups of white plain sugar and then 1 cup of brown sugar. To me, it adds so much flavor when you use brown sugar, but in this recipe, since it's a pound cake and I really don't want it to caramelize in the oven, I'm just going to use all 3 cups of white sugar. But sometimes I use brown sugar and sugar recipes, like to really make a deep toffee flavor in my cookies. I use brown sugar instead of white sugar, or I use half and half. So we're going to go with 3 cups. I usually do a cup at a time and incorporate, so I don't really get those chunks and everything incorporates well, and I still keep my fluffy batter. So that's actually 1 cup. I'm using half a cup scoop. So if you see me do 2, that's actually 2 half cups. Really doesn't take a long time to incorporate your sugar, so this process goes a little bit faster, you know. But yeah, man, I love baking. It really, to me, it's like when you see somebody bite into something that you put your heart into and you took the time out and they say how good it is, it's like, damn, that's the most rewarding part. So I started baking for myself, and then I just started enjoying like sharing my recipes and sharing my desserts with my coworkers. and I was kind of experimenting because if they didn't like it, I ain't going to take it to my family because my family is the type of people very critical when it comes to food and desserts. So I just started bringing my desserts to my family until I knew that I perfected my recipes. So this is my second cup of sugar. Like I say, you want to make sure everything's incorporated before you move on. So here I am with my last cup of sugar that I'm going to add in. The video stopped, so I had to restart it. So our last cup of sugar, and then we're going to add the flour aspect after this. Oh, batter just going everywhere. Woo! All right, y'all. So when you incorporate, remember this is 3 cups of cake flour. You can use all-purpose flour, but if you use all-purpose flour, make sure you sift it to get rid of the chunks. So I basically looked up why we use cake flour instead of all-purpose flour. And it's because cake flour has a less protein in it. So I don't know if that does something with the science or not, but I'm sure it does. So this is 3 cups of flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and a half a teaspoon of salt. So I kind of added in half and half. You want to be very careful because as you can see, it's already puffing up. So you want to go a little slow to incorporate this in there. I really wish I had a tabletop mixer because I feel like it would be cleaner and faster for me. But, you know, growing up, I used to always see my mom, especially my grandmother, in the kitchen with their hand mixers. So this is like kind of taking me back nostalgia a little bit. Oh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. One thing I forgot to add, but I can add it right now, is my vanilla. How you gonna have a cake with no flavor? You know what I'm saying? This is damn margarita getting to me. Well, we're gonna add our vanilla. We're gonna use 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla. Do not use imitation. I use this. I wish it come into focus. You can't, but this is Spice Island's pure vanilla extract. This is not imitation. This is pure vanilla. So we're going to use 2 teaspoons of this. When you spend that little extra money for real vanilla because it adds so a different flavor into your cakes and your cookies and any dessert. The imitation stuff is mostly alcohol. So it kind of adds a bitter vanilla taste to me. This is also, they use this vanilla extract using alcohol to extract it, but I just feel like it comes out so much better. So I'm going to incorporate that halfway in between adding all my flour. Look how large, look how much batter I got now, guys. So much, but so good. So we're going to add in our last portion of flour. And then we'll be done with our batter and we can put it in our can. So really easy, real easy breezy, beautiful pound cake. But yeah, you can do this. Anybody can do it from ages 10. I would say anybody who can get in the kitchen and measure things out can make this recipe. Like I said, I just wish I had a tabletop mixer because it would be a stand mixer, or however you want to say it. It would be easier for me to incorporate my desserts rather than doing a hand mixer because stuff just gets everywhere with this hand mixer. I usually do this technique where I just hold it in place and spin my bowl around. That way I don't get stuff everywhere. I do that for a while until I see all my flour is settled in, and then I start moving it. I usually wear an apron as well when I bake, but it's dirty, so I didn't want to put on a dirty apron again. So I'm just getting my clothes dirty. T-shirts and some shorts. So at this point, everything's kind of incorporated. I have a lot of batter here. So from here, I'm going to use my spatula again and go ahead and incorporate everything together. Just make sure I got all my sides, everything at the bottom. You know, just make sure you got all that goodness. Look at all this stuff, y'all. Oh, it just smells so good and it looks so good, just velvety and smooth. Look at that. See how it doesn't even fall off my spatula? That's how you want your consistency to be. When you pick it up, it doesn't even fall off. It's pretty heavy, but at the same time, it's very smooth. I just like to get a little taste. That tastes really good, y'all. And so from here, what I'm gonna do, I have a bundt cake right here. Some people use sponge pans, but I have a bundt cake pan right here that I'm going to spray with a non-stick spray. You can use anything, non-stick or cooking spray. I like to use this butter cooking spray. Believe it or not, I got it from the dollar store and it works better than those name brand ones. I have never had anything stick. You want to spray pretty heavy in your pan because you definitely don't want this to stick, especially in a bundt cake pan. So from here, I'm going to pour my batter in here the best way I can. I like to pour it in here 3/4 full because your cake will rise. And I saw with pound cakes, they rise a lot, especially with that three teaspoons of baking powder that we put in here. It will make our cake rise pretty high. So I like to do 3/4. Sometimes I have leftover batter and you can use that to make like a little cake tester cake that probably will bake a little bit more. So after you put everything in here, you're going to put this in the oven. I like to put mine on the middle rack for 75 to 90 minutes. So it's in the oven for a long time. But when it come out, baby, it's going to be good. So once I have my stuff in my bundt pan, as you can see, it's like 3/4 full. I want to smooth it out. You don't want to push it down in your pan because if you push it, you're going to make your cake more dense. You want it to naturally fill out. But after I have that full, I like to give it a little shake. That's going to get all the air bubbles out. I don't bang it on the counter that often. I'll just do 1 or 2 because I don't want my cake to be dense. But as you can see, it's 3/4 fill. We're going to pop this shit in the oven. Ooh, I said shit. I said it again. We're going to pop this in the oven, guys, for 75 to 90 minutes. And I'll be right back to show you how it is. Alright, everybody. I have taken it out of the oven now. And as you can see, it's beautifully golden brown on top. And I'm letting it cool out on the countertop probably around 30 or 40 minutes depending on how long it takes to cool down. I want it to cool completely down before I flip it out of the box. I mean out of the why the hell did I say box? Out of the pan. So here we go, everybody. It is out of the pan and look how beautiful this looks. This is how it's gonna come out. Don't worry about if it comes out like that, all the imperfections of it sticking to the pan. To me, that's what makes it a homemade cake, adds character. But what I did was, off camera, I made some cream cheese icing. This is 8 ounces of softened cream cheese and 1 stick of unsalted butter. And I used about around 500 grams, so half a bag of powdered sugar. So I use half this bag right here of powdered sugar. And you want to start it off with softened cream cheese, softened butter. You want to mix that with your hand mixer until it's nice and fluffy. And then slowly add in your half a bag of powdered sugar, a little bit at a time. And as you can see, you want this consistency right here for your cream cheese. So this is a cream cheese pound cake, and I'm going to add in my cream cheese icing. I don't want to cover the whole thing. I'm just going to spread a little bit on top. And my cake is fully cooled down. And the reason why I wanted to make it fully cool down is because I knew I wanted to spread a little of this cream cheese icing on top, and I didn't want it to melt and then soak into the cake. You know, some people like that, but for me, you know, I didn't want it to be like soaked in there, and I just want to put a little on top. It doesn't have to be perfect. I want my cake to look homemade. I don't want it to look professional, so I'm just going to ice the top to give it like almost like a snow cap feeling. Oh my God, y'all. I'm over here waiting to dive into this damn cake. It's going to be so good. I already text my mama and them pictures of this cake, and they are ready to dive into it. Y'all see my meal in the back? I made some some salmon burgers and some fries, so excuse that in the background. But I have to hurry up and do this. I didn't feel like cleaning that up. I was like, let me go ahead and do this for y'all. Like I say, this is a very easy recipe. It does take a while in the oven, so if you're trying to do this for an event or something, I would definitely try to do it the day before. And you know, so it's completely cooled and you won't be rushing. Ooh, look at that. All right, so I'm finna go ahead and take a little, I'm gonna make me a little cut, see what we got. Go ahead and take a little slice here. Ooh, perfect. Look how easy that slides. That's, ooh, give me a damn plate. I wash the dishes today. Give me a plate. Get my little slice out. Oh, look at that. Look at that, y'all. Ooh, look at that cake. Beautiful. So let me show y'all. Oh my God, look at that, guys. Look how it looks finally when it's cut. Look at that piece, just perfect and nice. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel. Thank you for following me along while I make this cream cheese pound cake. This is Cooking Cocktails and Conversation. I hope you give me a thumbs up at the bottom. Subscribe. You watching already? I'm gonna come give you all the good stuff after this video. Keep on watching, so subscribe. So again, this is Troy, guys. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Goodbye.
Cake, 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 cake. 500 million, I got a pound cake.